low-income students in the state's lowest performing, chronically failing public schools in this state. These students would be able to attend out-of-district public schools or non-public schools anywhere in the state that choose to participate and are approved by the State Department of Education. This legislation has bipartisan sponsorship. Senator Raymond Lesniak, Democrat, and Senator Tom Kean, Republican. It is sponsored by Assemblyman Angel Fuentes, Democrat of Camden. This legislation has the strong support of Senate President Steve Sweeney, and every Republican in the Senate and Assembly support it. There are at least 10 to 15 Democrats in the Assembly who have indicated their support for this bill. There are enough votes to pass S. 1872 and A. 2810 in both the Senate and the Assembly. Governor Chris Christie has committed to sign this historic piece of legislation. One thing stands in the way of the Opportunity Scholarship Act becoming law. The Speaker of the New Jersey General Assembly, Sheila Y. Oliver, must take decisive action to see that this bill is posted and acted upon by the Assembly. This is why we are here today. We call upon Speaker Oliver today to send this bill to the Assembly Appropriations Committee to be acted upon and presented to the full Assembly for a vote for passage. Speaker Oliver says that her #1 priority is the budget. It has been announced this morning that the governor and legislative leaders have reached agreement on the budget. That takes care of her #1 priority. Now, we call upon her to make the Opportunity Scholarship Act her #1 priority, providing for low-income children in failing schools who have a civil right to a quality education. Let's be very clear. Better yet, let's be crystal clear. The fate of the Opportunity Scholarship Act is in the hands of the Speaker and the Democrats in the New Jersey State Legislature. The Opportunity Scholarship Act can be passed and should be passed by June 30th. Again, the Speaker says there is not support in her caucus for the Opportunity Scholarship Act. We believe, we are confident there are at least 10 to 15 Democrats, including African Americans, who are ready to vote for this bill if given the chance. Speaker Oliver, we call upon you to give them this chance. There is some talk that this bill will be acted upon in September or in the fall, but not by June 30th. I and my colleagues in this room have heard this scenario before. We've been burned by this rhetoric before. We've been betrayed by these false promises before. And it is asking too much of us to believe these false promises and this hype again. If this legislation does not pass, if the Opportunity Scholarship Act does not pass, we will hold the Democratic Party accountable.
There are some who want to delay passage of this legislation because they don't want to give the governor a victory. The Opportunity Scholarship Act is not about the governor. It is about our children and their opportunity to get a better education, an opportunity to have a productive and better future. And they have a right to this opportunity, and they should have it now. The Opportunity Scholarship Act is a pilot that will allow 20,000 low-income children to get out of failing schools. Some argue against this legislation because it will not get all the children out of all the failing schools. Would they support this bill if it did? But it is a pilot, designed to see if it worked on a small scale. Many of our children are enslaved by failing schools. They argue we should free none of them if we can't free all of them. Imagine, if you will, if Harriet Tubman took this position with the Underground Railroad. Don't free any of the slaves, since we can't free all of them. The goal of this legislation is not to destroy public schools, but to give the children the opportunity to get a better education, and at the same time see what we can learn and apply to reform public schools.